I'm having an issue here now. Hold on.
All right, guys, welcome back for another Malice Corp TV talk. Thursday nights with Supernatural. Hashtag SPN family. I'm ICZorro, your host, and we're going to be talking about season 13, episode 6. I believe it's called Tombstone. And I know for at least one of the ladies on the cast, this was a long-awaited episode.
I wonder which one that was. Me! Spoilers! No.
All right, well, speaking of the ladies on the cast with me, let's go ahead and introduce them. SuperWhovian, welcome.
Yeah, what's going on? This was a good episode. Come on, guys. We're not going to lie.
Absolutely.
A couple minor bumps in the road that could have been handled a little better, but overall, this was the episode of the season for me.
So far, yeah.
So far.
Okay, I can get behind that. Gia Tomcat over in the pink shirt. How are you doing today? And what did you think of the episode?
Really good. I thought it was okay until the last 5 minutes, but we'll talk about that.
Yes, we will. All right. Well, let's jump straight into it. Right off the start, we have got the previews or the previously on, and we can see that this is going to be heavily involving Jack and Kaz, which makes a lot of sense because they haven't actually met each other in real life yet. And it wasn't until I was watching the previous on that I realized, as much as Jack knows Cass, he has never met him. Is that something that everybody was thinking of going into this episode, or even as soon as we saw Cass was back?
Is that what we call a plot hole?
No.
Through?
I don't think it's a plot hole at all. I thought it was the whole premise of that was that Jack knew everything that was going around him, even in utero.
Yeah, it was but it was nice to see that he knew, but he didn't know. Like, he was aware of who Cass was, but at the same time, it's like, he didn't really know who he was. Yeah.
It's like the difference between online dating and living with someone. you know all this stuff that they think and the way that they are, but then you see the little in-person stuff, and it can change a lot. I think for the better in this case. So the episode starts out in Dodge City. And the first thing I thought was, nice. At some point, someone's going to say, let's get the hell out of Dodge. And I was not disappointed. But we're led to believe also from the previously on that this is going to have something to do with zombies. And the very first thing and the very first thing that we see is Dean wandering through a graveyard with what we assume at first to be another hunter, and searching out a quickly moving noise with their very conveniently lighted shotguns. Good thing they had those. Did anybody else just in that first scene where they kept thinking, oh man, it's moving too fast? Did anybody else think maybe there was more than one? Because I was still kind of on the zombie tip. Super, what did you think?
More than one, definitely number one. Number two, my first thought was, is this I didn't realize that this was in the future, obviously, that they were going to do that flashback 48 hours before. So my thought was, where the hell's Sam? Right. Why is he, or Cass or whoever, but why is he hunting with, like, who's this guy? We never even seen this guy before. Like, who the hell's this hunter? Where'd he dig this guy up,
Yeah.
And then he disappeared. He got taken, and Dean was just like, damn it, and and then you're just like, well, clearly this isn't like they're not buddies because he's not all sad about it. So
yeah, he didn't give one of those, oh no, it was just, oh man.
Well, yeah. I was freaked out about that perfectly round hole. How?
I was trying to figure out how thin the crust of dirt on top must have been to hold his weight, but then all of a sudden be dropped into a perfect tunnel.
Right. I was thinking, wow, you need about 15 inches of ice to stand really nice. And I don't know.
That is something that only us Midwesterners would know.
Right.
Like, you can walk on ice, right? You don't fall through.
Right. Pressure ridges, ice stats. Ooh.
Yeah. You can ask anyone from Minnesota how thick the ice needs to be before you put your fishing house on it.
Right. Right. And why are we driving across the lake with our windows down?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be a Midwest thing, because here in, California, we're just like ice. That's in our freezers, right?
No, I think you have to go to the mountains for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we do the flashback, or it cuts to 48 hours earlier, and actually, not even a plot point of the episode. One of the first things I thought was, we still haven't seen Mary or Lucifer since episode 2. It's been 4 episoeds, and
2 or 3.
We saw them in 2. I'm pretty sure it was 2, because that was
is that where he got kicked by Michael? He got his butt kicked by Michael?
I'm pretty sure that was the Buck Lemmings one that we were talking about in a different cast.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen them since that. So once again, I'm predicting we're going to have an entire episode dedicated to nothing but them in the alternate dimension. We get to finally see Jack meet up with Castiel in the bunker. That was a nice, awkward, hey, Jack,
like,
we want you to meet someone.
Yeah, like, I almost was waiting for, like, what did you do? Like, not in an accusatory way, but like, how did you, I don't know. But that little reunion, just the first thing, Gia, I'm sure you were happy when they got out of the car, just is that really you? And now obviously you've been lying, but
I was waiting for ta-da!
Yeah.
When they saw him, and I was waiting for one of them somewhere in the episode, most likely Sam, to say something along the lines of, how do we know that's really Cass?
I know. And maybe they're not doing that because they've done that route before a couple times with the purgatory and the mind control that Naomi was doing with them. So I'm wondering if maybe that's why they didn't do that. They're just taking it as the win and rolling. Or maybe Sam was going to question, but then when Dean
saw how happy Dean was.
Yeah, he didn't even rain on his parade, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So
that bugged me. Why was Dean so happy, but everybody else looked miserable? Everybody looked miserable.
They don't get his cowboy obsession.
I'm like, then a couple episodes before, everybody's happy and Dean is miserable.
That's entirely related to Cass. Cass is like, he says it later in the episode. Sam says, why are you so happy? He says, hey man, I said we needed a win, and we got Cass back. That's a huge win. It really is. It can't be overstated how much he loves that man.
Yeah, seriously.
I do not consider myself one of the strange shippers of this show, but man, when he went in to hug Cass, I really thought he was going to kiss him there.
Right? It did look like that, didn't it?
Just for a second, it was like he was going to walk up and grab his face and just go for it.
It sucks you in sometimes, whether you want it to or not. And it's like, I mean, it really does. It's you just have to watch them, and that's it.
As I said, I'm not one of these strange relationship shippers of this show, but it's
you give the viewers what they want, and the viewers it goes down. You tease it until they can't stand it.
Mm-hmm. And it's very clear, just the way that they shot that, how much Dean is happy to have Cass back, and sort of astounded, but just gets over it like that. And I think that explains why the rest of everybody was like a little hesitant at first too, because Dean just wanted it to be true so much. He was good. Everybody else was a little confused.
Yeah.
So after Jack and Castiel are introduced to each other, Jack quickly snaps into hunter mode, which is pretty cool. A little overeager hunter mode. He's apparently become quite the computer whiz in the last.
I know. He's better at computers than Dean is, and Dean's been using them for how long?
To be fair, half Archangel, pretty good at stuff.
He doesn't sleep, so
Yeah. But I love how I think it was Sam. He said, "How'd you learn to do that?" And he pulled out the old '80s anti-drug commercial line of, I learned it by watching you. That cracked me up a little bit. So as he calls out what clearly is a very thin premise to go searching for a case, it was funny to me, and Gia, I'd like to know your opinion as well, that in this case, when everybody else is like, yeah, it could just be a grave robber, Dean is immediately like, yeah, let's do it. Now that Cass is back, Dean is like super supportive guy.
Well, it's a cowboy thing.
I don't think he knew that it was in Dodge yet at that point.
Yeah. He may not have. I don't remember. We'll have to go back and watch that. But I do want to we got a shout out, Nerd Mosh Pit. Big Papa Matt's out in the chat room right now.
Oh, nice.
And he says Nerd Mosh Pit loves Supernatural TV talk, especially because Supernatural gives them what we want.
That is a very long hashtag, but I don't mind it. Welcome, Big Papa Matt. I haven't seen the beard in quite a while.
No, we missed the beard. We do miss the beard.
So they get to Dodge, and Dean's like a kid in a candy store, or more accurately, like a cowboy-obsessed man in Dodge City.
Yeah.
And of course, they get the best room in the motel, the Wild Bill Suite. Super, did it look like they just dressed up some old set with a bunch of animal heads?
A little bit. It was cheese on top of it, and everyone else was just like.
I love Jack's line of, he really likes cowboys.
But it was just like, yeah, I mean, to harken back to the other cowboy episode where he went full, cowboy gear with the serape and the, hat. And I mean, it was, he's fanboying, whatever you want to say over. I don't even know who those people were. What were they? Outlaws? Were they cowboys?
Most of them were outlaws. Yeah.
Outlaws. Yeah. And he's fangirling over him like, a preteen at a Taylor Swift concert.
Although, to be fair, there were a couple of people that were based on, I'm assuming they're real people as well, characters from the movie Tombstone. So kind of a callback to the name of the episode. He called out Doc Holliday for sure at one point. And when they got to the, so next up we get to we see this deputy basically get sucked under a stolen truck. And it's clearly Monster of the Week, whatever it might be. We don't know for sure at this point. But when Dean and Cass show up at the scene in those wonderful hats, by the way, and thank God he took that friggin' banner off of Cass's hat. It was the most tourist thing anybody's ever seen.
What did it even say? Did it say Stampede?
It did. Stampede something. Yeah.
That was so ridiculous. And so is that. I don't think that's a real ice quote. Our producer, Jack, gave us the formula for ice strength as P equals AH2. I'm not sure what that means, but apparently that is the strength of ice that you can walk over.
Oh, cool.
P the load in pounds. P the load in pounds. Yeah. So that's for those of you that were wondering about the ice.
So then let me clarify.
Auger and just.
So then let me clarify. People from Minnesota and anybody with access to Google can figure it out. Yeah, so they're getting information from this deputy at the scene, and we realize this is the same guy that we saw in the flash forward at the beginning of the episode. He's not just some hunter; he's a sheriff's deputy, sergeant specifically, and that the guy that died, the guy that got sucked into the truck, was his nephew. So it becomes real clear, real quick, that this guy is going to be a help to them, and he's not going to necessarily follow the letter of the law. Before they even got out of the car, though, in reference to the pictures on the wall, one of the things that Cass said to Dean in the car, Dean said something along the lines of, "Come on, you remember Tombstone, that movie with Kurt Russell I showed you?" He goes, "Oh yeah. I'm your Huckleberry." That was good.
Like, come on, dude. What is it about you like to say this? The sub is no longer in the text.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. And following on to that, when they introduced themselves with their Texas Ranger names, by the way, or not Texas Ranger, Texas Rangers. It was Agent Russell after Kurt Russell, and then Cass looks at him and goes, "I'm Kilmer. I'm Val Kilmer."
That was like the worst not Bond ever. Like, of all
He's
the people on Dean's face was just like, put away, Dean. Like, you know he's lying, but at the same time, he's just like,
the look that he gave was kind of like, all right, we'll go with it. He could have gone with Ranger Kilmer, Ranger Holiday.
No, anything but I'm Kilmer, Val Kilmer, you know. And the other guy was just like, yeah, okay,
sure.
Did he roll his eyes?
I think he might have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they get information from the sergeant, deputy sergeant there. We figure out it's the nephew. We go to Sam and Jack, and they are checking out the body of the deputy, I believe, and trying to figure out what's going on there. They meet the very pretty Undertaker, who is just crazy into rockabilly, apparently. Something
that was great music.
Yeah,
I was. Know who did that music? I've been looking on the internet to see who did that music.
I almost wish Nudie Rudy watched this show at all. I know he's. That seems like something he would know.
It was great music, in my opinion, the whole episode.
Absolutely. So they go to they get information from the Undertaker that if they want to go check out the grave that it was suspected of being robbed, they can go to the graveyard.
I have a little thing. When Sam saw the Undertaker, did you see that flash of whoa? And when she said the music, he said, "Oh, you like them?" And I was like, "Oh, it's another girl for them to torture in Maine."
I did not see that. I was too busy doing it myself.
So too bad she was already with the creeper. So
yeah. Yes. Speaking of which,
probably not see her again. But
yeah, no, there's not a whole lot of recurring small town characters on this anymore, except for the main ones that we met earlier in earlier seasons, and they've got their own show now, so that's fun. So they go to the graveyard and they check out the open grave that's still there, trying to figure out what's actually been going on there. It didn't exactly look like a zombie had popped up out of the ground. So Sam jumps down in and immediately finds the hole in the wall. That was pretty quick and convenient. Just happened to be the first place that he reached. Just pulls some loose dirt out and pulls out what's clearly half of a pelvis.
The cleanest bone I've ever seen outside a museum.
Mm-hmm. Outside a museum, yeah. It looked like it had been sitting there for how many years to get that clean, and so kind of creepy that it's literally been there less than a couple days.
It looked bleached.
It looked like it had been bleached, yeah.
That ghoul must have just been sucking all the meat off the bone, and it's.
Sam has weird and unique talents. He can find Wi-Fi in the middle of nowhere, and he finds the creepy, disturbing bones on the first try. I could have made a really dirty joke right there, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no, I get where you're going with that one.
Yeah,
and I appreciate it. And they see teeth marks all over the half a pelvis, and Sam realizes, nope, not zombies. This is a ghoul, and it's. In exposition mode, they once again explain to Jack and to us again that ghouls take on the form of whoever they've eaten. So in this case, well, they realize that it is well, they have a picture. Wait, do they have a picture? I'm trying to remember how they figure out that it's Dave in the first place. Yeah,
wasn't there like security camera footage or something like that?
They're in the hotel room.
The hotel room?
And
of course, in the hotel room.
Yeah. Dean, of course, knows immediately who that is. It's a guy that was part of the Tombstone. What did he say? Just a long dead gangster, part of the Tombstone gang. Dave. And then we realize, thanks to Jack's apparently perfect recall, that Dave is the boyfriend of the hot Undertaker that we saw earlier.
Yeah, that is how I don't know how they knew that, because how did they see them interact? I mean, how did they make that connection?
Jack saw a picture on the desk in the mortuary of the two of them together.
The screensaver on the computer, I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I missed that then, because I was like, I'm like, did he just pluck that out of thin air? Like,
no, it was
from.
They showed like a 2 or 3 second flash of him looking down at the desk, and we saw a picture of Athena and Dave together.
Okay, great name, by the way, Athena.
Yeah, especially for an Undertaker. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
we see Dave come in and start talking to Athena, and she's got accepted to this makeup, and I think it was like makeup and special effects in LA.
Yep.
I thought that was I thought that was a really interesting, fun way that they went with that character, rather than I'm just going to go to beauty school. It was, no, I'm going to go to special effects school.
That's cool. Yeah. That's where it is right now, in my opinion. That's one of the hot, that and graphic arts, those are two of the hot trending fields. So it's nice they kind of threw that in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, and especially working the job that she's currently doing, I'm sure she does a lot of prosthetic and very specific types of makeup. So yeah, good for her. And of course, you see this ghoul who has taken on. I'm wondering about this. Do they take on the personality as well of the body that they're imitating?
They can, if they're trying to put up a front. I mean, I'm thinking back to Skinwalkers, but I guess we wouldn't really know, because all the ghouls we've seen, the one that took over Adam, their brother, he was not the person that Adam really was. Adam was an ass.
Right.
I hated that character.
Gia, what do you think? Because there was a line later at the bank scene where, and again later in the mortuary, where he says something along the lines of, "You're not fast enough." Like maybe he has somehow gotten this gunfighter body speed.
Well, I think he's got ghoul speed, actually, because in the teaser scenes where we hear the sound but we don't see the ghoul.
Right. Okay.
It's incredibly fast, so I think it's ghoul speed rather than gunfighter speed.
Okay, that kind of makes sense. I like that. So we see he immediately goes into unsupportive boyfriend mode. Babe, I don't know, big city living, it costs a lot of money. You sure you want, what about us? You sure you want to move across? Yeah, he goes into unsupportive boyfriend mode. And then we see him change his mind and go to rob a bank so that they can afford big city living.
Yeah, that was, I guess, fitting with this character, fitting in with the whole cowboys and gunslingers and bank robbers. And
really, did anybody not see that coming?
Black hat, red bandana. We're like, come on.
Oilskin coat. Did anybody not see that coming?
The only more stereotypical thing would have been if he had been robbing a train.
Right.
Which, of course,
rob a commuter train.
How do you catch one of those on a horse?
All you suits, get off that train.
So yeah, he robs the bank. He knows all the little tricks, all the things to avoid. I used to work as a bank teller. I can tell you, he called out all this stuff, except for one. There's a little wad of bills that if you pull it out, a little switch goes down where that bill used to be, and the alarm automatically goes off.
Very nice.
Bank robbery tips. And there's no way you do it from the other side of the counter.
Yeah.
So don't do it. And on the way out, he gets confronted by Dean, Sam, Cass, and Jack. How did they know he was going to be at that bank?
That's a good question. Maybe they tracked him with traffic cams. If they knew what car he was driving. Okay.
Yeah, I remember Jack saying something about hacking into traffic cameras because, again, after a week, this kid's computer was supreme.
Dude,
how convenient!
I want him on my team. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, this is the class that this group has been missing. Hacker / magician.
Right. This is the zombie apocalypse team.
Yeah. I mean, they're missing. It proves how much they missed Charlie on the show. having, not a computer savant like she was, but, better than Dean.
Yeah. So yeah, they're confronting Dave outside of the bank, and the first thought is this is going to be a shootout, and it kind of was at first. I was expecting more of a like draw type situation,
right?
But I suppose that's even a little unrealistic, even for this show.
Right. Honestly, I was expecting Cass to walk up and just take his gun and punch him in the face. I mean, he's an angel. He's invulnerable. What the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, so that did seem a little bit, this was probably my one big critique of the episode. I know Gia's was the end, but for me, it just felt railroaded. That at the end of that scene with what happened, it felt railroaded. There was no reason for it. You had two invulnerable characters.
Yeah.
There was no reason for that to happen in any way, shape, or form.
And every time that I see Jack run or hide from something like that, I'm like, you remember like 3 or 4 episodes when you were repeatedly stabbing yourself and it was healing immediately?
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't be scared of anything.
Cass freaking out when he ran out there? Like, why, dude?
Well, Cass wouldn't know that at this point.
That's true. He wouldn't know because he hadn't seen it. But
how could he not know that Jack is half angel?
No, he does. He knows he's half angel. He just doesn't know what specifically that entails yet.
Yeah. Because remember, he killed a Nephilim once, and he did it by just stabbing it in the heart.
With an angel blade, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was with an angel blade. So, but, and plus...
So you really can't kill an angel with a gun.
No.
No.
You can't.
No.
So he probably knew that, maybe.
Yeah, but maybe you can kill a Nephilim with a gun. We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we've seen at this point.
Don't make excuses for them.
Especially a Nephilim that's, half archangel.
Half archangel, exactly. No, in my opinion, yeah, it was uncalled for. But I guess I could see if he hadn't seen it, he would still be worried and concerned. You're just worried and concerned for your friends and, strange fetus that you bonded with.
Do you think that Cass is fully dedicated to taking on sort of a foster father role with Jack?
Yeah, I think so. But that's who he is, He likes bonds, he makes bonds, and he definitely cares. And I think he too feels responsible since Kelly kind of chose him to be mentor. And he has someone depending on him now. He has someone that's looking up to him for a change. So
Gia, you, like me, watched the entirety of the show fairly recently. What do you think about the development of the character of Cass from, what was it, season 2, season 3, when he was first introduced till now? Because it seems like when he first came down, he was just cold, flat. I'm on a mission. That's it.
I think it's a real hero's journey. I mean, I think they're all on a hero's journey, especially Dean. But he's changed a lot, an incredible amount. I mean, he is not even the same angel.
If the pizza man loves this babysitter so much, why is he? He's not nearly as literal anymore, which is a lot of fun.
No, and when he is, though, it makes it so much better. But that was that in the follow-up line to, dude, you don't do that in a room full of dudes. What are you doing? And if you do, you don't talk about it.
That was one of my favorite scenes from previous seasons. So yeah, at the end of the bank robbery confrontation scene, Jack decides, you know what, I can handle this. I've got powers now. Look, I can float the pencil. Why shouldn't I be able to stand up to a bank robber? And of course, we see inevitably somebody else is going to get hurt because the bank security guard starts heading out the door just at the wrong time. And as Jack blasts Dave back, he also catches the security guard and slams him headfirst into a pole. It doesn't work out so well for the security guard, unfortunately. I wondered, Jack said, Cass, you got to go heal him. Why didn't Cass immediately run or go to do that? Like, maybe if he'd gotten to him in time. I don't know. I kind of almost blame Cass for that guard dying. I get that it's a plot device, but
yeah, because it's a plot device.
I personally think he was already dead and Cass knew it, but
just dead on contact.
just dead on contact. I have that feeling that he was, because that was a really hard hit, and he hit head first.
And that was good special effects too.
Great special
Blood was really spreading out from his head. I was thinking, ooh, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah, it was really brutal. That was my personal opinion. Is I think Cass knew he was already dead and did it just to appease him,
to humor the kid.
To humor the kid, yeah.
So Jack accidentally kills his first human for sure, and we know right away this is going to be a problem. This is going to, with the moral struggles and the identity struggles this kid already has. Gia, what do you think this is, aside from what we saw in this episode? How do you think he's going to deal with that going forward?
I don't. Well, it causes a value conflict. In a person who's just discovered he has values. So that if the writers do a good job, they can really wring a lot of pathos and trauma out of it. I'm thinking about, if it was a real person, yeah, he'd be in therapy.
Yeah.
He would definitely be in therapy. He could use some therapy. They all could use some good therapy. But
I think we tried that once already this season.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get a little bit more here and there, but
yeah.
But a value conflict makes good drama.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut over to the mortuary again. I believe they only built the one set for that house, which was just the basement where she does all the dirty work. And Dave comes in, still wearing his duster and his hat, and carrying a bag full, a bag that might as well have had a big dollar sign on it. And he says the line that I've been waiting all episode for: "Babe, we gotta get the hell out of Dodge." Fantastic.
Worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah, and I've just been I'm about halfway through the third season of Fargo, so I have just seen a scene where the guy is revealed to have done crazy, terrible, illegal things, immoral things to benefit his girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh, honey." So it threw me a little bit when this girl was like, "No, I didn't want that at all. You're crazy, and we're done." I kind of, which way did you think that was going to go, Super? Did you think she was going to embrace the fact that he had robbed for her, or were you unsurprised when she was like, "You're crazy"?
No. I liked that she went, "You're crazy," because she didn't seem like that kind of person. Like she didn't seem, she just wanted to live her own little normal life. And all of a sudden she's got this guy coming in here, robbed a bank for her. And she's like, "Dude, what the hell?" Like,
what have I ever done that would indicate that I would enjoy that?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he called her a name.
He did.
Right.
He did. But he was a monster.
So I'm calling you a name.
Yeah. He was a monster, though. So,
Well, anybody whose default when something good happens for your girlfriend is to go, "Oh, I don't know, babe. Yeah. What about me?" That's the type of person that's okay saying what he said later.
Yeah. I didn't love it, but I get it. So
yeah. So we finally get to the point where the deputy sergeant and Dean are going through the graveyard because Dave has fled essentially. Without Athena. But we find out that there's a little connection between that graveyard scene at the beginning and what's going to go on later with Athena. We finally see Dean jump into the hole, and Super, I believe there was a little line there that you really enjoyed.
Dude, I don't want to do this. And then he just dives in the hole. I need that to be my gift for my life now, because that is my life. I don't want to do this. Do it anyways, and just go plow forward.
So somebody please create that GIF for Super Whovian. She will very much appreciate you for it.
Yeah.
But did you love when he's
out how to get that on a T-shirt?
He's in the tunnel and he's crawling through the dirt and he says, "Sure, come to Dodge City. We'll have some laughs."
I know. I was like, "Oh, that's a Die Hard callback. That's amazing."
Yeah.
Hey, come out to the coast. We'll have a few laughs.
We'll have some laughs.
That's great.
crawl through a tunnel.
That was very, very Dean, because that's what he does when he's frustrated with himself. He talks
pop culture references,
and just pops out the pop culture references.
I can totally relate. He gets to the end of the hole, and it turns out that hole from the graveyard goes into the crematorium in the mortuary where Athena works. I was a little confused at first. I thought, how does she not notice this giant tunnel going to this space that she uses fairly regularly?
Yeah.
And what, don't they have a slide? They don't just stuff the body in there. Don't they just have a slide? They put the body on, they slide it back in?
You would think.
It looks like a trash incinerator. You just, chop up the body and then throw it in.
Yeah. And how did nobody ever notice smoke coming out of various spots in the graveyard where holes were dug?
I know.
Because those fires are not cool fires. Those are smoky, burning meat fires.
Yeah. Ugh. That one may have been a little bit of a plot hole. That one could have been a little bit of a plot hole.
Zorro, you can stop anytime now.
Yeah, we're good. And actually, one thing that I was thinking there was I'd totally forgotten. Where is everybody else? Why is Dean solo here? I'd forgotten it's because he killed a guy. Jack killed a guy, so now they're sort of on the way back to the bunker. They wanted to get Jack out of town just in case there's any heat from the local. So I get that, like, okay, get him, but why? I don't understand why everyone had to go. Yes, I could see maybe Cass taking him back and Sam staying with Dean,
or flip it, to keep with the vein of the episode. But
Guy, you're forgetting something really important. This is a one-person tunnel.
Oh, that's true.
But they could go single file.
Yeah. It would have been a little awkward, though.
To get kicked in the face by snakeskin boots.
Yeah. Hey, if you're going to get kicked in the face by someone, let it be Dean.
No, I think that would hurt a lot.
It has to be the one.
I'm going to get kicked in the face by somebody. I hope it's a tiny baby.
Yeah.
With no boots.
I'm going to quote back to Felicia Day back in season 10 before her character was brutally ripped out of the show. She sent out a tweet for her episode where she's playing Charlie and Dark Charlie, and her and Jensen are wrestling around on the ground, and she goes, "I put Dean in a headlock with my legs. I can now die a happy girl." She goes, "My life has been complete. I can die happy."
That's awesome.
Little, falling down face emoji, and it was hilarious.
I loved that episode. That was a great episode.
That was a great episode, and I miss Felicia Day.
Me too.
Yeah.
If only they keep on finding ways to bring people back. Maybe we'll see our alternate reality, Charlie. That'd be cool.
That would be kind of awesome.
I'd be all right with that. Except I believe at one point somebody said they'd never met a female hunter.
It's
I
true.
guess maybe. It's possible she could not be a hunter.
She could, yeah. If
wasn't Mary a female hunter?
Yeah, but in the alternate reality, they'd never met a female.
Okay.
Met a female hunter.
Yeah. And actually, so thinking about why everybody had to go along to get Jack out of town, a question popped into my head, and I would like both of your take on it. Now that Cass is back from the empty, does he have his wings again? Gia, what do you think?
No.
I don't know.
I would say no, because he called for a ride. It would have been a lot more dramatic if he just poofed and teleported to the bunker. That would have been epic.
Actually, that's a really good point.
I would have loved to have seen the freak out from that, him just popping in the bunker's kitchen.
Why do you think that they have kept his wings gone for so long? Is it was too easy of a plot device for him to be able to teleport wherever?
Right.
Well, that and technically all the angels except for Lucifer have no wings anymore.
Yeah.
That's why they used that portal to teleport to heaven, and it was because of Metatron. And I'm assuming that they haven't healed. Maybe they won't heal their wings. And they can't fly technically anymore. That's the only thing I can think of, is that they've made it so angels are grounded. So
but on the other hand,
doesn't Jack have wings?
I was just about to say that.
Wings in this episode?
Jack has wings. However, he was born after the wing removal stuff. Yeah. So maybe it's like, hey, clipping the feathers of all the parrots in your hothouse somewhere, but they're children would still have the ability to fly.
Mhm.
So that's a possibility. Or maybe it's because Lucifer is his father and Lucifer's wings are still intact.
Yeah, Lucifer's wings were still intact. That was dirty, sneaky little.
Just a question that I had, but that was a really good point. If Cass had his wings back, he would have just teleported wherever they were. He wouldn't have needed to call for a ride. Hadn't thought of that. Good call. So we get Jack and Cass and Sam in the car, and Cass and Sam are trying to pull off the most come from behind pep talk. It's like they are set up to fail with that kid.
Right.
Gia, what did you think of their pep talks and Jack's reaction to it?
I was the same as Jack. I was like, stop. Just shut up for a second and just let me be. It's like a guy coming home from a hard day at work, and all they want to do is process the hard day at work. And then when women come home from a hard day at work, they process by talking immediately.
Right.
So I was with Jack. I was just like, just stop talking.
So you're saying Sam is the woman in this relationship?
Yes.
Yes.
Dude.
We knew that though.
Yeah, that's true.
See that? Oh my God.
Super. What did you think?
The hair. It comes with the hair. He grows it out.
What about the 5-day stubble?
The 5-day stubble. Yeah, because if he uses the same hair products, they're all loaded with estrogen.
Listen,
So,
sometimes women without that hair bleach.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
For
So
me,
look like me?
I got both sides. I got the frustration of just because he's what, not even a month technically?
Yeah.
I don't even know how much time technically has passed in between.
I assume a couple of weeks, basically.
And, so on one hand, yeah, he doesn't know how to process and he doesn't want to hear it. It sounds placating. And I don't think it helps to say like, well, we've all done this. We've all messed up, because if he's looking up to them as role models, then he probably feels now that he's got no hope.
Right.
Like, how do they justify it? You're telling me I'm a monster on one hand, or Dean had been telling him he was a monster. And then I know Dean tried to make up for that tonight, which was good. And I knew that was going to happen. I absolutely knew that was going to happen when Cass came back.
Yep, absolutely.
But it probably did sound placating. And I don't know if he would have fled if maybe they just let him go to his room and cool off. But it felt a little bit like a railroaded plot. He needed to leave. I knew he was going to end up leaving at some point, whether it was due to this or due to fear of them kicking him out or
well, you can only do so many episodes where they show up and introduce themselves as FBI or whatever, and just have a clueless kid wandering around in the background.
Well,
and you also can't see every single stage of his progress as he becomes more and more powerful and learned and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and he's got a values conflict. It's Jack is trying to be 100% good. Well, you can't be 100% good. It's like, I hate to bring a Star Wars reference into it, but the Jedis are light and the Sith are dark, and the balance is in the middle between. And in therapy they call it between the emotion mind and the logical mind is the wise mind in the middle. And you can't. It's a values conflict. He's conflicted because he believes he should be 100% good.
And he'll learn that, I think, in his journey of self-discovery, because we said, we all knew this was probably going to happen. He was going to go out on his own. In my opinion, this is how Asmodeus, because I refuse to call him Asmodeus.
I agree.
Asmodeus is coming back in, because I think he's going to be trying to track him. And this is where the temptation. Now he's going to be in the role of Lucifer until Lucifer gets back.
Yeah. Speaking of characters we haven't seen in a while.
Yeah. Oh, he's Biden. He's doing his thing. Well, I have a feeling we'll get him and Lucifer back in the same episode.
Evil Colonel Sanders.
Evil Colonel Sanders. That's actually See ya. Colonel
I hated the Colonel with his wee beady eyes and that smug look on his face. Oh, you're going to buy my chicken. Ooh.
Because they're not going to leave that plot thread dangling for a while. This guy that wants to rip open and bring out the Demogorgons.
Yeah, I still don't remember what he actually called them. I
have no idea, but to me right now, until we learn the actual name, they're the Demogorgons.
It was the Shadim or the Shathin or something like that. Yeah, Demogorgons works. Excuse me, it's Demodogs?
Demodogs. So, but whatever they are, you know they're nasty, and you know they're going to wreak some havoc, and you know he's not going to give up on this kid who wants to who he wants to open it up and do it before Lucifer gets back, because I'm sure he's not counting Lucifer out yet, wherever.
Yeah. Well, it's and of course it's become a little bit Buffy-esque, where man, gotta save the world every season. You know, something terrible's got to happen, and it's got to be worse than last time.
And Monster of the Week.
And Monster.
With an overarching plot.
Yeah, this season's done a nice balance. I'll give it the last couple seasons really have done a nice balance of the overarching plot and the Monster of the Week.
I agree.
I'll tip my hat.
That really made me feel manipulated and led on, and it was cheap and it was cliche, and I hated the ending of this. We got 6 episodes.
We're not quite there yet.
Oh, sorry.
But
sorry.
we will definitely get to that, and I will let you rant for a couple of minutes. First, we've been talking about previous seasons of this. Talked a little bit about Buffy right there. For all the stuff that we're talking about, you can go to our website, malice-corp.com. We've got a little link for Amazon. I know it says gift cards on there. You can go through it. It'll take you to straight up Amazon. And actually going to Amazon to get those things, you can do streaming. You can buy DVDs if you still have an actual thing that plays hardware. I don't anymore. I guess my my PlayStation might work. But yeah, if you want to go back and revisit any of those things, if you're going to Amazon anyway, we would really appreciate it if you go through our site. It helps keep our site up and running. As it turns out, running websites and running podcasts, not free. So every little bit helps. I used Amazon today, and I went through our site.
I'm from Amazon today.
I am definitely going to. I'm not going to buy DVDs though, only because I get those for Christmas. But I am going to buy. There are these supernatural pants and fleece blankets.
Nice.
Surprisingly, we're joking about Minnesota being cold. California's cold this year, guys.
No, it's not. It's California cold.
It's California cold, but maybe it's just my office then. I swear to God, it's Arctic temperatures in that office. I wear this sweater. I wear a jacket on top of the sweater and a long sleeve shirt, pants, and a blanket at my desk, and I'm still cold.
To be fair, I live in the central coast of California. I see people walking around with big puffy winter jackets on, and I'm perfectly comfortable in shorts and a t-shirt because I was raised in basically South Canada of Minnesota. Anyway,
when it gets 40 below here, that's flip-flop weather.
40 below? I don't know. No, 40 in the summer. That is definitely t-shirt.
I'm still wearing my sandals, though. I'm just picked out everywhere.
All right. So we've only got a couple of scenes left to cover here. We go back to the mortuary basement where we have to have the final showdown with the bad guy of the episode, Dave. He shows up, and once again, I was expecting a straight up, full on like a gunfight draw. And it was kind of teased a little bit. Dean sees the deputy sergeant, and he sees Athena. Dave comes in, and Dave makes him put his hands up, reach higher. Okay, yeah. And he says something along the lines of, you don't even have a gun. You're not fast enough anyway. And Dean goes, no, but he is. Smoothly steps to the side while the deputy sergeant shotgun blasts Dave's head clean off.
The head, yeah. He remembered Dean telling him, aim for the head.
Aim for the head, yeah. And Dean is able to clear up and squash any possible legal trouble they may have had, because that deputy sergeant was clearly, he didn't want any more issues than needed either. So Jack's accidental killing of the bank security guard is just going to go down as something else that Dave did.
But now we know why they dressed Athena in a red shirt or a white shirt,
so that we could see all that red. Yeah,
we could see all the red.
That was actually pretty brutal. That was pretty disturbing.
Had to make her a red shirt.
Yeah.
And then we go to the final season. And Gia, now I will let you go ahead and rant.
Yeah, ran away.
Please be careful with the language.
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks. No, I'm kidding. I just think it was manipulative, and we sat through 6 episodes of Jack whining about, I don't know who I am. I don't know if I'm good or bad. You guys hate me. And then all of a sudden he just out. What the hell is that about? I just felt that it was cliche. It was a plot device. It was cheap.
How do you really feel?
Yeah.
No, I get it though. I think the writing there could have been a little bit better with him explaining why he needed to do, rather than knocking everybody down and as you said, disappearing.
Yeah.
I think that could have been handled better. But as Super has been saying, we all saw it coming that he was gonna.
Oh yeah, I mean, you saw it coming, but couldn't they have done it a nice, unusual way? Maybe do something unique instead of here's a punch in the gut and then I gotta go.
Well, he had to go walkabout for sure, and now that Cass is back, Cass would have wanted to go with him, but you can't have Cass and Dean separated immediately after Cass comes back. So then Dean would have gone, and if Dean's going, then Sam's going, and then he might as well not have left. So that he had to do something that stopped anybody else from following him. And since he is essentially the only angel with wings left, he did. I don't understand why he knocked them all down first. That was kind of a
disorient, move. I think. Or it could be he really just doesn't have control of himself yet.
No, he straight up reached up and went.
Oh yeah,
he straight up got control now. He levitated the pencil.
He finds control definitely in emotions.
Oh, for sure.
But what was I going to say? He lashed out. I mean, this was not a child's temper tantrum, but it very much was like a teenage temper tantrum. Like, you don't get me. I don't get me. I need to go find myself, essentially.
Yeah, he decided to wander the earth.
So Jack turns into an emo?
Well, he's been a little bit emo.
Well, he's totally
been emo since the get-go.
Yeah,
but the dialogue has been very emo, but I actually was telling Gia before, because I like the way Alex is playing him. I don't think it's overdone. The acting, I don't think that it's so in your face or poor me,
Yeah.
I don't get that vibe, but I do get the confusion. I do get the identity crisis. I do get the why am I here? I get all that, and it's not.
Yeah. But I don't see why they have to do it over and over again. I feel like I've been hit on the head with it. Okay,
I would blame the writing on that, and I get that they have to hit that point from time to time, but I agree they're overdoing it a little bit. I think I said at the very beginning of the season, I hoped we didn't have to go through a whole season of, am I good? Am I bad? And you're right. He has not been playing it super over the top like that, which I appreciate. Anyway, to wrap up the episode, Super, what was your favorite and least favorite moments of the episode? And actually, I think we'll get that from you, and then we'll get that from Gia, and then I know there was something that you wanted to read out as well.
Yeah, so my favorite moments of the show probably had to be the scene in the car where they're quoting the Tombstone, and Cass then gets out and introduces himself. The music that went with it, that Jack pointed out in the chat earlier, the Space Cowboy by the Steve Miller Band, followed up by the Hot Rod Rockin', for those that were wondering, Hot Rod Rockin' by Thaddeus Rose and the Thorns. And then just from start to finish, that whole scene, their interaction, I've missed that a lot in season 12. They had interaction, but a lot of it was bickering, and Dean being overprotective, and Cass finally fighting back and butting heads. And while I loved it, it was nice to see them go back to the season 8, season 6, season 4 of the two of them, more having the bond and the playfulness,
the supportive bromance.
Yes, that's it. That and depending on what eyes you're watching it from, ship or non-ship or whatever, floats your boat. I don't care. I see both sides. And so to have that back was fantastic, and I missed that, and I want more of it. Please, writers. I know they've got a good sense. They've got a good set of writers right now. I really like Davey Perez, who wrote tonight's episode. Steve Yockey, who wrote last week's. I think I pronounced his last name correctly. Bobo Barons. You know, solid team of writers. My least favorite moment had to be that episode where the guy ran out of the bank. It was so contrived. There was no reason for him to run out. You literally just saw a kid walk up, get shot, boom, boom, boom. There's gunfire blame. What are you going to do? What are you going to do in that moment except get yourself killed? I knew it was coming the minute he said, don't be a hero, you know, so I knew he was going to die. I didn't think it was going to be by Jack, but it was railroaded. It was contrived. And it was the only downside of the episode for me. Big downside.
Yeah. What about you?
I like the fact where he there's this big perfect round hole, and he says, oh, I gotta go in. And no, I'm not going in. And then he goes in head first. And I'm like, oh, because that guy didn't go in head first. So how did they get through the tunnel?
Yeah, there had to be some sort of maneuvering area for him to be able to.
Like, and my least favorite, of course, is the end.
That I think we've got.
I didn't like it at all.
My favorite.
Yeah.
My favorite was just the glee in Dean's voice and the way Jensen acted when they were getting into the Wild Bill suite, just calling out the different people, the pictures on the walls, and the baffled look on everybody else's face is like, what is he talking about?
And the saloon doors. Did you see the saloon doors? I was like, on the bathroom. That is so cool.
The one scene that none of us talked about that we should have talked about that was equally hilarious was when Jack woke Dean up. And Cass was like, no, don't.
I told you, he's a grumpy sleeper, like a bear.
Like a bear. And
that was a great reaction, a great wake up from Jensen. Just, ah!
Yeah, like, and then to roll right back over, go back to sleep, and just be like, who's making me coffee?
I was thinking to myself, I wonder what time it is. Did he wake him up at like 2:30, 3 in the morning?
Something. And he was sleeping deep too. I mean, he had the full snore going and everything, which I don't think we've seen since season 2. So
no, we saw it last episode when he was hung over on the floor.
When he wasn't hung over on the floor.
Okay,
When he
gotcha.
wasn't hung over, yeah.
And as far as my least favorite moment, I don't know that I have a specific one. I get why they ended it the way they did. I'm not angry at it like Gia is. No, I don't really have a least favorite episode. I thought it was pretty solid throughout. If I had to pick one, I would go with the same thing that you said, Super. There's no reason for that security guard to go out there. It was just dumb. It was all right. So you, Super, had some live tweets that Misha did during the episode that you wanted to read out.
All right. He starts off tonight and he's Aloha Cowboys. It's Supernatural night. You want to settle up, join my posse. I'm going to do some live tweeting. Then he follows it up with the line, I annoyed an ancient cosmic being so much that he sent me back to Earth. And what can I say? I got tired of playing with myself. And then,
wait, to back up to the first one, Aloha Cowboys?
Aloha Cowboys.
What?
That was a reference to the gag reel from season 10 when he comes up behind Jensen as Demon Dean and he gets him in that bear hug where they're going to put him back to be depossessed. And he in the gag reel, and then he's like, Aloha Cowboy, and then Jensen goes, it's so big. Why? Well, we all know why, but you know, so that was a reference back to that. It's sad that I know that. And then he follows it up with a Team Free Will 2.0 has the same taste as classic Team Free Will, but with half the sugar and calories. Everyone get yourself some today. But this one, I told you he's an angry sleeper like a bear. And then he goes, at Jensen Ackles, you could probably use a shave, but I'd say you're just a tad too slim to be considered a bear.
I believe an otter.
And then the last one he ended it with was the script called for a bow-legged saunter. Lucky for me, and Jensen Ackles was on set to provide lessons. as you can tell, the expert advice paid off. But the best one of the night was when he tweeted the last one. This has been fun, but it's time to ride off into the sunset for the evening. Happy trail, cowboys. Thanks for watching. But the guy that plays Jack followed it up with #BrokebackNatural.
Yes. Nice.
So it's not just us that likes to poke and make fun. The cast does too. They get into it. They enjoy it. It's a good time. And everyone should just, laugh and have some fun with it.
All right. Well, that was our episode. That was 1306 Tombstone. The cowboy episode is over. I'm a little sad. So let's wrap up. Where can we find everybody? Gia?
You can find me on Twitter at red_mepaw, MIPAW at Twitter.
All right. And Super?
Find me on Twitter, SuperWhovianNut. Thursdays are always a party, but I like to have fun all through the week too. So come join me. It's a good time.
I don't know anyone more active on Twitter than you, personally.
I
know. Myself, you can follow at ICZorro on Twitter and Instagram. The cast, our main cast itself, you can follow at MaliceCast. That is currently on hiatus until I believe January 5th or so. The main website you can follow at MaliceCorp on Twitter. That's the reason that we're here in the first place. We've got all these wonderful articles. I would say a large majority of them written by SuperWhovianFreak there. She just can't stop writing. Our producer, of course, is Jax _Malice on Twitter. You can also follow the cast or the main site at Malice_Corp on Instagram. We are going to be back not on Thursday next week because that's going to be Thanksgiving. Do we know, are they airing an episode next week?
I don't know, actually. I think they might take the 1 week hiatus and then come back the week after, but I'll confirm that because I didn't see anyone on Facebook posting the next week's preview like they usually do.
Okay.
So I'm thinking they're going to take a week off.
That would make sense. Football is going to be everywhere. It's Thanksgiving. So let's assume that we will see you guys again and you will see us again 2 weeks from now for episode 7. And that'll do it, folks. Carry on.
7, The Adventures of Jack on the Road.